Hello, and thank you so much to those of you who have been so patient. I know that I have been very out of touch and that it's been very bad timing for that, but I do think, hopefully, that I am fully out of the well now and I can resume my life and our videos. But first, we need to get the question, answer, and question video done that we said, because you guys gave me some great questions. I haven't read them all yet. I kind of wanted to save some for surprise, just to have off the cuff stuff. But anyway, so let's get started. Thank you again, and I'm so happy to be back. The first question is, where are you living now? I live in Nessie, the bestie van ever, and she is wherever she's at the moment. Right now, we are in the Adirondack Mountains in New York. It's quite lovely, and we will have videos about that. Are there any products that you still use from the beginning of your journey? Yes, absolutely. My favorite, oddly, is this fan. Well, okay, it's kind of, I have mixed feelings about it, but I've had this fan. It's one of the first things that I bought for van life because it's USB powered and very, very small uses very small wattage, like 2 or something watts, very small when it's on the low power. But it is kind of it doesn't really have a great way to really mount it anywhere. And then there's the wire in the way. So when I have copious amounts of power and I'm not worried about it, I prefer using this because then it's more out of the way and I can just kind of put this other one off to the side. I do still use my set power. I don't know if you can see it. You'll have to excuse the messy van. I still, I haven't been doing much cleaning because I've been kind of in the down in the dumps. But anyway, I do still use that refrigerator, which is good. What are your plans for future locations? Or are you just going to let your heart lead you on to the next part of your adventure? Mostly just my heart and the wind and my mood and gas money. No, but for right now, the sort of immediate plans are I am going to spend some time in the Adirondack Mountains while I'm waiting for a dentist appointment that I need to do before I leave New York. And then I'm heading to Acadia National Park. I'm going to head straight that way, hang out probably most of the summer in Maine. Well, yeah, I guess all of the rest of the summer in Maine. And then once the fall colors start, I want to, trek past, back through New England, see all them colors, and then probably head down either through West Virginia or back through the Shenandoah Valley to see all them colors. And then hopefully, if everything goes as I would like it to, down to Texas for like late fall, just like a week, so that I can see my sister and my niece and my friend Kim, and bring my daughter out. I want to fly my daughter out. That's what I'm hoping I can do. Fly my daughter out so that she can also visit all of them. We can have a lovely Thanksgiving-ish time together. And then I'll probably have to skedaddle to the desert to survive the winter. And then from there, who knows? The world or the country is my oyster, as they say. Would you ever consider getting into your drawing again, and would you ever sell them? I am hoping with all my heart and soul that I can get back into some sort of art form, that the jailer in my head will eventually open the cell and let me do something artsy-fartsy again. I do miss it. Drawing, painting. I did get rid of just about all of my artsy-fartsy stuff when I moved into the van. Just space reasons, but I did keep all of my beading stuff. So I'm really hoping that eventually I can get back into beading because it was really fun. I mean, all of the artsy stuff is fun. As to whether or not I will sell them, I don't know. That was my original plan. When I first learned beading and jewelry making was that I would sell it, but I never made anything that I felt was really good enough to ask for somebody's hard-earned money for it. So I don't know. I'm just hoping I can get back into it for the creative, fun outlet of it. And if I ever sell it or not, I don't know. Who knows? The future is unknown. The notion of a van vehicle life seems strange and nearly impossible from my vantage point as a South African, where safety is a huge issue. So guide and educate me, please, about safety concerning this lifestyle. For sure, safety is a big concern here in lots of parts of the United States as well. But I don't know. Hot take, controversial opinion. I don't really know that I feel like it's a whole lot less safe in a vehicle than it is in a home. I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of home you have, but windows can be broken on a home just as easily as they can be broken in a van. They can be broken into just as easily as a van. The difference between a van and a home is that if you feel like something sketchy's going on, especially if you're as lucky as I am and you have a van that you can just get from the front to the back without having to get out of the van, you can just leave. make sure that you park in a way that you can easily escape should you need to. I do keep, just as if I was in a house, I do keep some personal safety things. I have a couple in the front, a couple in the back. I would maybe even consider a gun if I wasn't just a handgun. I'm not a big fan of the semi-automatics. In fact, I think they should be outlawed. Personal feeling. But I would have like a handgun or something. But I'm so clumsy, I think I'm much more likely to shoot my toe off than anybody else. So I don't think I'll probably ever get a gun. But I do have some, and I think those are important, whether you live in a home or a van. But I don't know, like that's a hard one for me to answer because, again, I don't know that I really believe that it's a whole lot less safe. As long as you are really being careful about where you park. Like I'm never going to park in a place that has bars on the windows. If I see the homes around it or the businesses around that area with bars on their windows, I figure they know something I don't. And so I just won't park there. I try to avoid parking downtown as much as I can, just because downtown quite often equals drunk people. And I don't trust drunk people. I don't care who you are when you're sober. I don't really trust you that much when you're drunk. So I don't really like parking downtown for that reason. And then sometimes you got to really listen to your gut. Sometimes you can pull up someplace and go, maybe not, and just keep going. But as long as you're to me, it seems like as long as you're careful about where you park and you really kind of sit for a while and look around before you decide to set up for the night, feel like, you feel comfortable, then I don't personally feel like it's a whole lot different than being in a vehicle. But I don't know. I mean, in a house, but I could be very wrong about that. So I'm sorry if that answer isn't the best answer. But it's how I do it. It's how I feel about it anyways. But yes, please stay safe. I love you. Do you know that you're an ENFP? I'm not sure what that is. So no. Is it one of the, the personality things? I don't know. Interesting. I'll have to look it up, but I don't know. Do you think having the extra space has helped you move out of the funk easier than before? No. And I can only say that because shortly after moving into the van, I'm really just now coming out of, but for the last month or so, I've been in one of the deepest, darkest depressions that I've experienced in a really long time, well over a year for sure. And so having the extra space and all of that is wonderful. Do not get me wrong. I love Nessie. But I don't think it's really, I know for sure it hasn't really done anything to make things easier for me, but nothing will, it's just the chemicals in my brain. So that's just what we deal with. It's all right. No big deal. It passes. It passed. It always does. Do you keep a gratitude journal? I don't anymore. I did for a long time. I spent 30 something years trying really any suggestion you can think of, both traditional and alternative, to figure out how, maybe to feel better on a more consistent basis. And I definitely did do a gratitude journal. And while I do not still write down anything, I definitely do still practice gratitude very strongly. It's, I think, one of the biggest tools in my toolbox, because when I'm in the really, really bad place and the chemicals are just, raining down on me, it is very difficult for me to find any super gratitude. Although, obviously I still look and whatever, but during those times, it's really just a wait. It's just a waiting game, unfortunately. But when I am out of the well, I'm still very much dealing with depression and this sort of cold emptiness that just lives in me constantly, no matter what kind of mood I'm in, even if I'm in the very bestest mood of all. That feeling is always, always there. But when I'm doing, not super, super bad, then I have the capability to sort of concentrate more on the things that, bring me joy, make me laugh, give me good feelings, make me grateful, and concentrate enough on those things that I can kind of ignore the bad part of it. It's there. I know it's there. I can feel it, but it's a little easier to sort of shut the door on it, particularly if I am concentrating on things I'm grateful for, things that make me happy, that kind of thing. So still an incredibly big tool for me. I just don't typically, I haven't, written it down in a while. I didn't find any difference, whether I wrote it or, everybody does it their own way. And so I'm really glad that you are able to find some, good strength through that. That's awesome. How's the new setup working out? What have you loved about it? And what are you planning on changing, updating in the future? Well, I love her so much. Okay, so I love her setup. She's amazing. I'm going to show y'all a tour very soon, I promise. I did end up getting this desk and chair. So I have like a comfortable desk setup now, which is something I've wanted since I got into the van. And that is definitely not something I could have had in the minivan. So I'm so excited about that. I love the fact that I can get from the front to the back, as we talked about, and back, vice versa. That is such a huge, like, much even cooler than I thought it was going to be. Just makes life so much nicer. And I love that there's enough room that I don't have to constantly be moving stuff around to go from one activity to another. I still haven't found a place, as you probably saw when I flashed around. I still haven't found a place for everything, but that's a me problem, not a van problem. I just haven't figured it out yet. But I will. And the desk, I think, certainly takes up a lot of space, but for my mental well-being, it is 100% worth it. So I'll work around it. I'll figure it all out. I'll find a place for everything. And then I for sure won't be having to move stuff around anymore. And that is going, just to go from cooking to working to something to sleeping to whatever, so cool. Love that so much. So things I would change. I'm thinking I don't know if you'll be able to see. I ended up using that area for kitchen instead of desk, which was my original thought, but I ended up preferring to have a desk with my own chair so I wouldn't have to be on the bed all the time. But so it is pretty cramped in here, and I'm thinking I might build something here so that I can put the fridge and then have something over it. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still trying to figure it all out. But if I ever actually get up the gumption, I will maybe build something here so I can consolidate this stuff a little better, and it'll be a little less cramped. But for now, it totally works just fine. So even if that never happens, I'll be perfectly happy in here. Are you still in New York? Yep, Adirondack Mountains. What have you learned about yourself in the last year and a half, 6-month increments, that you did not know or was new for you, especially about yourself in relation to the world? Yo. It's a deep question. I'm not 100% sure you'll love the answer, but honesty is the key, right? So, well, the first 6 months, I think I was really surprised to learn about myself, that I still very much care very much what people think about me. And I kind of thought I had gotten past that for the most part. But particularly for some reason, I haven't experienced it as much away from the Sacramento area, but, I had to stay in the Sacramento area for the first 8 months that I was in the van because my daughter was only 17 and a half when she moved in with her dad. I couldn't pay rent anymore, so she moved in with her dad, and I didn't want to leave the area where she was until, I wanted to give her an adjustment period and help her settle into her new life and stuff, and I didn't want to just leave right away. So I had to stay in that Sacramento area for the first 8 months. And the judgment in that area, a lot of people think California is a very liberal state, and there's part of it that is. Some parts are even progressive, I would say. But there's still very big chunks that are hugely, hugely, hugely conservative and have that whole not in my neighborhood idea. And so Sacramento is definitely a very conservative area. And the looks that I got from people there that just made me feel like the scum of the earth. And they just thought I was mooching off society, even though I ain't take nothing from nobody. It just made me feel, I was already sort of struggling with the feeling of being a failure and all of that. So it was really interesting to feel how much I was affected by other people's opinions, people I had never met, people I would never see again. Their opinion of me still really, really struck me, and that was really surprising for me. And that was really the first 6 months, I would say, is the biggest thing I learned about myself then. In the following 6 months after that, I think that I rediscovered my love of travel. But it also reminded me that that's not really the place that I'm in right now, is the traveling, but that's not really what I would prefer if I had a choice. So it was sort of an interesting 6 months because it reminded me how much I love travel, but it also really solidified that while I loved it and I do love it, it's really not my preference anymore. And that was kind of surprising for me because I have been a traveler my whole life. and, well, since my early 20s anyway. And I kind of thought that that's always who I would be, somebody who had wanderlust and wanted to just constantly be seeing and doing new things. And that was one of the ways that I sort of made van life not so bad in my head, was because I knew that once my daughter was settled, I would start traveling. And I thought, well, that's going to be amazing. And it was. Please don't get me wrong. It was. But it was an interesting thing to learn that, but I'm kind of done with that part in my life. And while I still love it, if I had a choice, I would be building something, like my own little homestead or rebuilding an old rundown house, or that's what I would really prefer to be doing. And that did surprise me because, travel has always been such a huge part of my personality, and that really surprised me. And then the next 6 months, again, like I said, I can't really give you great answers here. Because the final 6 months, I would say, I learned that I am right to be hesitant to build friendships with people. Not because people are bad. I love people. That's the weird thing. I love human beings. I love human beings so much. And I just walk down the grocery aisle and I look at people and I just love them. I do. I just love us. I think we're an amazing animal on this earth. I mean, we have capacity for really, really bad, but we also have capacity for amazing. And I love human beings, right? And I wish that I could have a gajillion friends and I could be the person that was a good friend to all of them. But the reality is that I'm not a good friend. I'm not a good friend. I don't have the capability to be in continual contact with people, and check in with them, and a friendship requires that. A good friendship requires that, and I am not any good at that. And I knew that, and that's one of the main reasons why I pulled away and isolated and did pull away from all of my friends and lost all of my friends. A lot of them I had lost even beforehand because I'm just so bad at staying in contact with people. I don't know why, but it's a really hard thing for me. So I pulled back, I isolated, and then I started this channel that made me go, maybe I should really try, again, to be friends with people. But this last 6 months has taught me that I am no better at it than I was before, and that it will lead to a broken heart every time, and that I need to continue with how I've been. I need to have friends that, the kind of friendship that doesn't require me to text often or call often, or because I just can't as much as I want to. And I wish I was the kind of person that I could. I have not been that person for a very long time, and I cannot force myself into it as much as I have tried. So this last 6 months, I learned about myself that I was right, that isolating for me, or not so much isolating, but not getting into a friendship where somebody is going to count on hearing from me, or being able to talk to me, a certain amount of time or whatever. I'm not capable of doing that, and I will hurt people, and then they will hurt me, and then it will be hurt and all around. So just I was right, sadly, that I have to remain, all by myself. No, not like that, but, a little bit. But it is better for everybody involved. So again, I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear. I can't think of an awful lot else that I've learned about myself in that time, unfortunately. But because all the good stuff I think that's happened, y'all are the good stuff. It has been luck, I think, in large part luck. I don't know that was much. I don't know if that had a lot to do with me or just YouTube liking me and the algorithm for some reason. You know what I mean? I learned that that's cool, though. I learned that the YouTube algorithm likes me, and that I like you back, and then I like you. And so it works out, I think, good. And that's a good lesson, too, I guess. Why do you think we are in love with you? Give it some thought. Your answers will give you some retrospect. Interesting. I think, hopefully, that you love me because you know how much I love you. I know that sounds like a very trite answer, but I really do genuinely hope that when people see me, they can see in my eyes that I just love humanity, that I just really believe that, 98% of us at any given time are really just doing the best that we can with the tools that we've been given, and that we really want to do as good as we can without hurting anybody else. I genuinely believe that that is 98% of us. And I think that humanity's capacity for love and generosity and forgiveness are amazing and beautiful. And so, my daughter calls me rainbow cakey because of how much I love people. She's, oh my gosh, Mom, you're being so rainbow cakey again. But like, it is how I feel. And so I hope that, I would like to think that the reason you guys love me is because you can see that you can see how much I love you and believe in you and want the best for you. But I also recognize that, again, a lot of it's just luck. A lot of it's just luck. You seem to thrive in nature. Any plans for heading for a rural spot soon? Yes. What's been so funny about being back in the van? It's been like I've had to learn or like it's like starting all over again. It's not been like riding a bike. I'm finding that I have all the same fears that I had when I first started in the van. Afraid to park on a public street. Took me like almost a month not to just park in a Cracker Barrel because I knew damn well I could park in a Cracker Barrel. And being somewhere where like I wasn't 100% sure if everybody there wanted me around, it took me a while to learn, to get the nerve up to do that. And I want to get back out to the wilderness very bad, but I'm finding myself very nervous to do that, to go somewhere with no Wi-Fi, which I had been totally fine with doing, after I'd been in the van for a while in the minivan. So I know that I'll be fine, again, but I have been a little bit nervous about doing it. So I haven't done it yet, but maybe this question will spur me on because there's some places around here I would love to do some extended rural camping. So how did you get started with your YouTube channel? Well, so when I went into the minivan, the first time I went into a van, I knew that I needed to do something with the van, to do something that makes the van, just not this horrible punishment, which is what it felt like at first. And I needed to do something to sort of change my perspective on the van. And I figured a YouTube channel would be a great way to do that. I never expected that so many people would start watching. And so that's been a huge bonus and very, very cool. But I mean, even when I thought it'd just be like 30 or 40 of us hanging out and talking about van stuff, I thought that it would give me a community and, everybody needs community, right? Good Lord. And being isolated in a van, I think we need it even a little bit more. No more, not more, but just, it's even cooler, I guess, for us to have that. And so, yeah, it was really just a way of trying to make the van into something that wasn't all bad. And it worked. It worked because, the van, there's lots of wonderful things about the van now that I feel about the van now. And that is very largely in part due to the YouTubeness. You guys, anything you want to share about your wonderful self we don't already know? Well, that's a very sweet question, despite the fact that I'm super not wonderful. I can be very judgmental. I have a very, very volatile mood. And as we've talked about, I'm a horrible friend. But something about me, that's hard because I kind of feel like I'm just an absolute open book and I really just tell y'all everything. When I'm able to make videos, I tell you everything. And I've even told you a lot of the stuff about, what it's like when I'm in the depression, and we'll talk more about that, in later videos, because I have more to say about it, especially after this last episode. I can't think of anything, but thank you for calling me wonderful. I just wonder if you're staying in places like a Walmart and then having to go to a park somewhere during the day, or have you slowly been making distance on your, travel still, yet in this fog or well? Oh, and then somebody responded saying, yeah, I'd like to know that too. When you're in a funk, where do you stay and how do you manage taking care of your basic needs? So yeah, I have just been staying mostly in Cracker Barrels. That was the first month I stayed almost entirely in Cracker Barrels because I just needed to be somewhere that I knew I wasn't going to get the knock and that it was okay. And people weren't going to be mad at me for being there. But yeah, you can't stay there during the day. So I would go there at night, and then I would just like drive sometimes just to Walmart so I could get some grocery shopping done. And then I would just sit in the parking lot there all day. And then I would just go back to the Cracker Barrel, or sometimes I would drive to the park and just sit there all day. And then drive back to the Cracker Barrel. Yeah, you can't stay in one spot when you're in the van. So you do have to, unless you're out on, private or public land. So yeah, it was really just a matter of that. And yeah, basic needs. It really is a matter of every single ounce that I have of energy or wherewithal or doitiveness, goes into those very, very basic needs. I mean, just using the restroom takes up many ounces of my energy. Eating, sleeping, getting up in the morning, like that first rolling over in the morning, like that would take everything in me. And so it really is just a matter of driving as little as I possibly can without getting in trouble so that I can save as much energy as I can for just the action of making it through the day. Yeah. Without a regular work schedule, it's hard to keep on keeping on, isn't it? The lows can get really low without that. Oh my God, I'm going to be late for work, Joel. That keeps us from thinking we're depressed because we're so focused on how much we hate our jobs. I feel like that could be a whole ass video by itself. Because there's also so much pressure that comes along with that makes just the basic stuff we just talked about even harder. And it makes it like, one step closer to making decisions that you can't come back from. So I'm sure it's like there's two sides of that coin, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What's one thing van life has taught you about happiness on both the good days and the hard ones? Van life specifically teaching me about happiness. Because I don't really know that van life, all the good that has happened to me since I've been in the van has come from y'all, because I don't think there's even a lot of things that travel-wise that I wouldn't have done if it wasn't for y'all. So when I think about what's taught me happiness in the last year, it's been you guys and this reminder that people are amazing. And I mean, I already knew that, but it's nice to have that reminder. And you guys have definitely been a huge, huge reminder. And you guys have been where the vast majority of my happiness has come from. So I don't really know. I might have to think on that one and come back to it if I can think of something specific that van life has taught me. I mean, there's been the travel, but I'd already done a lot of that. So I don't know that I really learned. I don't know. I'll come back to it. Sorry. If I can think of something, I'll come back to it. I promise. Do you find yourself wanting to sleep all of the time? Yes. It's funny because my ex, when I would go into a really bad spell, they'd say, "Oh, look, she's gone horizontal." And yeah, lots of sleep, as much sleep as possible. And then you say, if so, how do you manage to get through long solitary nights in your van? Sleeping pills. No, I very rarely take sleeping pills. Every now and then, if I've had like 3 or 4 really rough nights in a row, I will go ahead and take a sleeping pill. But I do take a melatonin every night. And I don't usually I have, a few spells a year where I'll have some trouble sleeping. But it's not a huge, big problem most of the time for me. But if I do have and I do have nights where I'll like wake up in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep, I'll usually just go ahead and get up and drink some coffee and play some video games because I'm always going to get tired again. And then I can just go back to sleep for a little while. But, nights aren't really a whole lot different for me from the days. My days and nights are all pretty long and solitary. I hope I'm not being too negative in this video. I did just come out of a pretty huge funk. Still maybe not wholly out of it. As I feel like I'm proving to myself as I'm making this video. Are you exercising, stretching routinely? No. I have been, I know it's time. I really, really fell off the hiking, walking, exercising, stretching routine over the winter, and I have not been able to make myself get back into it. But it is hiking season, and so I am definitely going to soon, I promise. Are you planning on staying on the East Coast, or do you plan to return back to the West Coast? Yeah, I definitely going to go back. At some point, I am going to be here. Like I said, I'm here, and then through the winter or through the summer, excuse me, and then hopefully a week in Texas, and then the desert summer or winter. And then I don't know exactly, but I won't be coming back to the East Coast. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I never wanted to leave the East Coast, like once I got here. So I'm going to stay here through, and then I'm going to go back to the West. It is really, they're not wrong when they say it's so much easier to find parking on the West. So yeah, I will definitely be, once I leave the East Coast, probably not coming back, I would imagine. Unless I find a little piece of land over here. Who knows what the future holds. But yeah, I'll be going back west. Much easier to park, and I miss Washington, so I really would like to go back to the San Juan Islands as soon as I can. Some questions I had already answered, so if I don't answer, like you read yours out specifically, it's because I think I've already answered it. If, however, I miss a question, let me know, and I'll certainly answer it in the comments. When you come out of the well, how do you deal with reaching out to family, friends that you haven't been in contact with, isolated from, and ignored? Oh, Jen, that's a hard one, and it sucks balls, and it's one of the reasons why I realized I can't actually have friends, because I go, even when I'm not in the well, I have a very difficult time. I don't know what it is. I can't stand the phone. Like, being on the phone has made me feel like my skin is going to crawl right off my body. For 20 plus years now, that's been a problem for a long time. I hate talking on the phone. Texting even, it's one of the things that the jailer gets me on. It's like, no, you can't do it. Even when I'm in my good periods. So, the periods of time that I go between talking to people, texting people, this includes my sister, except my daughter. I text her every single day. And I think that's part of it, is that I use all of my texting energy and the phone call energy that I have with her, so that I don't have any left. If I had any extra left over, honestly, I'd use it with my niece. But unfortunately, I don't even have a lot for her, which there's a lot of guilt and shame around that, because I love her so much and she's fantastic and she deserves a better aunt. She deserves a much better aunt. So I can't answer that question, because I don't immediately start reaching out. My sister knows that she's going to hear from me maybe once a month, probably less often. My niece, the same. She knows that she's going to get a check-in text from me telling her that I love her, maybe once a month. My daughter knows she'll hear from me at least once a day. And none of my friends, who do I have left? Kim? Expect a text from me any more than about maybe once every 6 months. Again, I am not proud of that. In fact, I have an awful lot of shame around that. And it's why I know that I don't deserve to have close friends, because I can't. I don't know why. I don't love it. I actually hate it about me, but it is what it is. So I try to tell people that, like if I try to have some sort of friendship with somebody, I try to tell them that, but I don't think, everybody always kind of feels like, well, they'll be different for some reason. Well, she'll want to talk to me more often. And then when they find out that it's not you specifically, it's nothing about you personally, it's me, it's something wrong with me. Quite often they will get hurt. So it doesn't even really help to sort of try and warn somebody. So I am not doing a good job answering these questions. And I am really sorry. I am here, when I talk about mental health stuff, it is mostly to help people without mental health understand what it's like, because I think one of the hardest parts, maybe the hardest part of living with a constant mental illness issue, and maybe any chronic illness issue, is people not believing you. So many people don't believe me when I try and tell them what it's like, or just not understanding. And that's certainly not their fault. I'm really glad that most people don't understand. It means they've never had to deal with it, and that's good. But it definitely makes people less tolerant of the flaws that come along with this. So for me, when I talk about it, it's because I'm really trying to help people understand so that other people with mental illness have a little bit of an easier life if they have people in their lives that understand. But I am not talking about it because I feel like I have the solution. I don't. 30 something years later, 20 years of that in therapy, 20 years of that with medication, trying everything you can possibly think of, and I have not found the solution. So that's just not something that I can provide. Understanding, yes. Solutions, no. And luckily, I am very, very lucky in that I've got a niece and a sister and a friend who all understand it, and none of them have given up on me yet, which is really amazing because everybody else has. So, I get yourself some people that understand. How do you get around daily fear? I hide. I do a lot of that. I don't know, man. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. I do a lot of hiding. I guess that's where a lot of the isolating comes from. So I do that. I think, you're talking about me sharing this on a public forum, and that sharing my journey and my thoughts and my feelings on a public forum. And I think that is the fear that you were talking about. And I don't know. It's like, on the one hand, I do feel fear, and I get some mean ass comments, y'all. I delete them though. Anytime there's a mean comment, I delete it anyways. And so I certainly do have fear. Life is up and down, right? And when I came on here, I totally expected that I would share my ups and downs, because what is the point of curating your life? What's the point? I don't even feel like that's the point. I'm wasting my time at that point, I think. So that was always my intention. But whenever I do share about the downs, I get lots of mean comments about how I'm, trying to get people to send me money, or I'm trying, usually that's it. That people think that I'm trying to get them to send me money, which, money isn't going to solve the biggest of my problems. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? People with all kinds of money, fame, stature, good looks, all that deal with this kind of depression. So it's not, money can't fix that. So, but I think that but it hurts my feelings really, 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 really bad when people say that, and assume that because I'm also sharing the downs, that means I'm trying to get something out of y'all. And so that is probably my fear. The fear, I fear a lot when I want to put out a video about something that's not great. I do fear that. My fear is that you guys, the ones of you that love me and know that I love you back, that you will ever feel that, to me, the most important thing out of any of this is, what I can get from you, or money in some way. That's ridiculous. I made $72 off YouTube last month. I'm not raking in the dough over here. That is not what I'm doing this for. And it's just really important to me that y'all know how much I care about you. And I just feel like our community feels more like a family than like a fan creator type thing. Different channels are different and they do different things. And this one feels much more like a family, or like us hanging out, So, and that's what I cherish. And I want you to know that I cherish that. And I do fear a lot that if I share too much of the bad stuff, people will start feeling like I'm trying to get something from you and not understand what your value is to me, and that it's not money, at all, right? But then I also remember comments where they're talking about how grateful they are that I share the bad stuff, because it helps them feel less alone, and it helps them feel, like they're not crazy, they're just neurodivergent or whatever, and those comments mean so much to me. So, and I don't want to censor myself. That's the big fear I have to overcome, but that is, that's life, right? Are you a reader? And if so, what have you been enjoying reading lately? I am. I'm a voracious reader usually, but I have to do, I'm a listener now. I have to do audiobooks now. It's very, very hard for me to remain focused because I kind of need to always be doing a couple things at one time. That's one of my coping mechanisms. One of the ways that I keep those dang old freaking mean ass thoughts that just keep wanting to come in and tell me about all the things I've ever done wrong in life. One of the ways, not healthy maybe, but it is the one that's worked for me after all the things I've tried, is just sort of keeping my brain busy as much as possible. And one of the ways I do that is usually by doing more than one thing at a time. So if I'm reading a book, that's all you can do is read the book. And that is hard for me to remain focused on it. So I like instead to listen to an audiobook, because then I can, go for a walk, or I can play a video game, mobile game on my phone, or I can be driving, or I can be doing something, else. And right now I am reading, don't spoil it for me because I haven't ever seen the play or seen the movie yet, but I am reading Wicked right now. So I just started, and please don't spoil it for me. Not that, really, is there any spoilers? You probably already know what's going to happen. Eventually Elphaba becomes the Wicked Witch, so I guess you kind of already know what happens, but I don't know all the details in between, and that's what I'm listening to right now. Usually, though, I am a horror and or fantasy buff. It's usually going to be one of those types of books for me. Out of the places you've been to so far on your journey, what are your top 5? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Number 1, the San Juan area in Washington. So all the way from, if you go, my favorite now little strip of the world, if you start at Port Townsend, which is actually still part of the mainland, start at Port Townsend, take the ferry up to Whidbey Island, explore Whidbey Island. Don't do like what I did and mistakenly only explore half the island. There's a whole other half of the island. So I missed that, but I'll do that next time. So up to Whidbey Island, and then drive up to Fidalgo Island, up to Anacortes, which is the main town at the top of Fidalgo. That whole area. Bestest area in the whole wide world, if you ask me. And then Mount Rainier is a very close second. It is amazing. Mount Rainier is so fantastic. And I was not prepared for how majestic that place is. Mount Rainier. Sedona, I think, would be my next favorite. It's funny, Annette, I saw your video. I haven't commented on it yet. I'm so sorry that it wasn't your gig. I think that I got really lucky and that I went during an off-season time. It was the middle of November when I went. And so it was pretty, there was still a fair amount of people there, but it wasn't nearly as overrun like what you experienced. And when you can go when it's off-season, the place blew my freaking mind. Sedona, and then really the whole Oregon coast is really fantastic. That's number 4. And then, so I'm in, would I put I don't know if I would put any of the places in New York that I've been yet. It's not that I'm not liking New York. Sedona Valley. Shenandoah, Virginia. So going through the Shenandoah Valley, I guess, would be number 5 for me. I have not found a place in New York that I would put in the top yet, but I am heading to Saranac Lake Placid area next, which is near White Mountain. And so I'm hoping that maybe I can, one of those places will be a spot that I can put in that number. So there, yeah, that's my, I think that was 5. Amazing. What a fun one. What is the weirdest conspiracy theory you believe? What conspiracy theory do you wish was true? Also, do aliens exist undersea or from space? What fun. Okay, weirdest conspiracy theory I believe. I don't know if it's weird, but I do believe that it's possible that the government had something to do with 9/11. Maybe. I don't know for sure, but I'm open to that being true. I wouldn't be surprised. The U.S. done some funky shit, y'all. Which one do I wish was true? I don't know. Might be fun if the earth was flat. I don't know. I can't think of one. Do aliens exist? Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes. I have believed that since I was maybe in 3rd grade, and the teacher was trying to explain to us how big space was. And they were like, now imagine all of the universe is inside of a box. What's on the other side of that box? You can't, if space is infinite, right? And I realized in that moment, there's no way space be infinite and there's no more else out there other than us. That's just not possible. So yes, aliens exist, probably out in space. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'd call them aliens, but there's definitely things in the sea that we don't even know exist down there yet. So I don't know, like, if we would call them aliens so much, or like maybe do you mean like alien folks came from space and then like set up camp down in some gorge somewhere? Maybe. Shoot, I'm agnostic, right? So like anything is possible in my mind. Have or do you think of getting a pet? They help depression and make fine companions. Yes. I want a pet so bad. I want a buddy in this van with me so bad. But I did use all of the money you guys gave me for its intended purpose, which was to get into a van. So I do need to build my savings back up again before I can feel comfortable enough. Like I could handle like the daily maintenance, I believe, of a pet, probably, if it was small, didn't eat a lot. But if they needed to go to a vet and then like I ended up having to put down my animal because I couldn't afford to do the vet service, it might kill me. And it would certainly kill my baby. So I just don't want to put myself or my animal in that position. I will wait until I know that I can cover any sort of emergency vet situation. I have considered maybe getting a jumping spider because they're stinking adorable and very affordable. But I just really don't know if I could handle, you have to feed them live insects, y'all. And I like insects. I like crickets. I can make a friend with a fly. Like, I don't know if I could handle having to condemn these baby little crickets or whatever it is to a certain death. I just don't know if I have what it takes to do that. So I'm still thinking about it because I do think a jumping spider might be the perfect pet for me in my particular situation. But I just don't know if I can handle the feedings. Poor little Gemini. Plans on doing a caravan? No. I am not good with being around people. I have about a 2-hour limit that I really enjoy those 2 hours. And then I need to go back into my cocoon for like a month. And that's just not even exaggerating. That's just the truth of it. So I don't think I could spend several days. It just would be very mentally taxing for me. And that sucks because I think it could be a lot of fun, but also like, I think it might tear me apart in ways. So I can't. Any plans for doing a live stream? Yes, I love live streams. I want to do more live streams. The trouble is finding enough power and Wi-Fi at the same time. But I do want to. It would probably just have to be a little sort of like surprise pop-up, like, oh look, I found a great place and I happen to be in a good mood at the same time. So they probably wouldn't be announced. But yes, I will definitely do streams as much as I possibly can. In the future, I would like to do lots and lots. If I really do get my power situation squared away, and maybe get to the point where I can, like, I don't know, I got to figure it out, but I want to. I will figure it out. How do you feel about the rain when in the van? I love the rain in the van. It's funny because one of the first, like, when I used to hang out at a park in Sacramento, I made friends with a couple of homeless guys, and maybe I shouldn't call them homeless guys. They were vehicle dwellers, but they called themselves homeless. Anyways, the point is that one of the guys was saying that one of the things he hates so much about living in his car is how loud the rain is when he's trying to sleep. And I am like, that doesn't help you sleep. It was a surprising thing. Like, who hates the rain? But I get it. But it was like very jarring for me to hear because that's like one of my favorite things about the van. I love how loud the rain is on it. Love it. How did you get hooked on tree butts? They're talking about the video I did about maybe probably in the rainforest, the redwood forest, and when the trees have fallen over and you can see like the bottom of the trees, and they're like, I call them tree butts because that's what they are. And they're so cool. Like, I don't know, I just think they're so cool. I think the patterns that they make, I don't remember when I got obsessed with them, but I think they're fantastic. And I don't think we ever decided for sure on what a group of tree butts would be called. But I still think we need a name. Although I think we got some good ones, but now I don't remember them because I have the worst memory in the whole wide world. But anyways, love a good tree butt. Somebody asked me to do a van tour. I am definitely going to do a van tour. I am sorry that I have not shown off this beautiful van that I was given, but I am going to do that very, very soon. I have a video. I just recently went to the Women's National History Museum thingy. It's where the very first Women's National Rights Convention was held in the United States in the 1800s. Yeah, Seneca Falls, New York. I went to that National Museum thing. It was amazing. I recorded it. So I need to get that edited and out, and then I promise I'll do a van tour. I'm sorry I haven't done it yet. I promise I will do it, though. Why are you so damn cute? I don't know. Genetics. My mama did it. What is your favorite t-shirt? Oh, definitely this t-shirt I got. This t-shirt I got from Port Townsend, says support the cause. And it's Port Townsend. I love it. Do you have depressed foods that you like? Like cookies, ice cream, or any of the bad for me are my drugs of choice. Yeah, well, I mean, do I like it any more when I'm depressed as when I'm not? I don't know. I got in this horrible habit of eating dessert. I used to not be in the habit of eating dessert. I didn't need a dessert all the time. And then I went and stayed in New York, and they had dessert every night after dinner, and it got me in the habit, and now I can't break the habit, and I keep having dessert every night, and I need to break the habit because it's really bad for me. I do often let myself have a Coke if I'm having a really, really bad day. Sometimes I'll let myself have a Coke, even though I try not to drink Cokes very often. I do have a Coke every now and then. But I don't know that I eat a whole lot different on my super depressed days as I do on my depressed days or on my not depressed days. I just like food, obviously. Favorite song to sing, favorite song to not sing. Interesting. My favorite song to sing, oh gosh, I love a lot of them. I love Bloodstream by Ed Sheeran. I like to sing that song a lot. I feel like it changes all the time for me, so I could probably give you a different answer on every day, but I've really been enjoying singing Red Wine Supernova by Chapel Roan. That's been a fun one to sing. I love to sing almost anything by Miranda Lambert. Songs I do not want to sing to. Ooh, I'm sorry, Ariana Grande, but really anything that you have ever sung, I don't really like to sing. I'm just not in love with the tone of her voice. I'm sorry, I like her. I think she's a sweetheart, but I don't like the tone of her voice very much. I wish she used that lower register more often. It would be beautiful if she did that. Do you get angry at your depression whilst at the same time enjoy your quirkiness? I am so mad at my depression, especially this really poorly timed, extra long one. Like, the timing of it could not have been worse, in my opinion. And I've made so many people mad because I haven't been able to make videos. And I've gotten so many really mean comments because I haven't been able to make videos. And so, yeah, I'm real pissed off at this last one. Just in general, I hate it. I get really mad at myself for it. But I didn't know that I can't remember the last time I've ever enjoyed my quirkiness, frankly, because when you used to be, did your hands hurt? Yes, I have carpal tunnel and arthritis. So yes, ouchie, but worth it. And I don't know, Dagnolia, you asked me why I'm so cute again. Why are you so cute? What are some van life goodies that are your favorites? This lantern. I love this lantern. It's not only very cute, so cute, it holds a power forever. It was a gift from you guys. And I love, this is kind of silly, but I like that it's not a push. You have to push the button to get to where you want to be. I don't know why, but I don't like that. I like the feel. Look at that. It's fantastic. This is one of my very favorite van life gadgets. It's an Everbright lantern of some sort. Very cute. We love. Do you have any movies you could watch over and over and over again and never get tired of? TV shows. I'm usually not somebody who can watch something more than once. If I know what happens, I usually don't, but there are exceptions. For instance, Sons of Anarchy, mostly because Charlie Hunnam, who played Jax. Hello. I have watched that now probably 5 times, that entire series, probably 5 times. Game of Thrones, I can watch it over and over again. Love that. Movies, well, I watched Gone with the Wind was like a family thing. I do know now that it is problematic. I did not know that growing up. And it was like a family thing. We would watch it all as a family a couple times a year. And whenever it would like come into town, sometimes they'd play it in the theaters and we'd always go see it there. So Gone with the Wind is something I can watch more than once just because it's a family thing. And then there's comedy shows. Another thing that I watched a lot growing up, and so I still love and would still be watching probably once a year if it didn't feel wrong now, is Bill Cosby himself. Just one of the best stand-up shows ever, and it was one of our family's favorites. We would watch it over and over and over again. Dances with Wolves, I can watch that. It's really things that I like grew up with that are like nostalgic childhood things that now I can watch them more for the familiarity comfort thing. But things that I didn't grow up with, I rarely will watch more than once. And do you have any exciting adventures planned for the summer? The only thing I know for sure is Acadia National Park and just, getting back into hiking. I'm really looking forward to that. What locations in the US are still on my bucket list? Well, so the first one we're going to, Acadia National Park, that's definitely on my bucket list. I feel like I just watched a video from a fellow van lifer that made me want to put something on my bucket list, but now I don't remember what it was. Within the U.S. Well, Michigan, I do still very much want to see Michigan. I've actually already seen a very large amount of the United States because I did a lot of traveling. Part of that, for like a year or two, I was in an RV traveling full time. So I've seen most of the places that I really wanted to see. But I haven't done Michigan yet, and I haven't done Maine yet, or I've seen Maine, but not the Acadia National Park. So those two. And West Virginia. I've not really explored West Virginia. So that, I guess those ones. Have you thought of doing any videos of you just doing projects on your van? I loved the video when you redid the bed frame in your old van while in the parking lot. Yes, I mean, and I want to. It's just, I intend to, and I'm really hoping that I can get back to making normal videos again. Now that I seem to be finally have escaped the well. It's just, since I've been in the van, it's just been a very up and down emotional time for me. And trying to find like the time where I feel good enough to turn the camera on and I've got the energy to do a project has been hard. Finding, those two things happen at the same time has been difficult for me. But I do want to. I do want to, and I will, and I promise I will, and hopefully I'm better now, and I can. Would you consider doing a montage video, sitting by a campfire, cooking animals you have cooking? I thought it said cooking animals. No, cooking animals you've recorded, silly things in the past, while you sing as the backdrop sound. Oh, that's so cute and sweet. Yeah, sure. I mean, I was gifted a guitarlele, which is like a small, you can't really see it, but it's like slightly bigger than a ukulele, but obviously much smaller than a guitar. It's kind of if they had a baby. And I played it a lot when I first got it, and then as usual with me, it kind of ended up off to the side. But I have been telling myself it's time to get back into it because I did promise that I would sing y'all an actual real song on it, and I never did do that, and I do apologize. So hopefully I can do that. Hopefully I am hoping to get out and do like, some rough camping, wild camping, where I actually just sit someplace for a week or so. And I think that'd be a good time to remind myself how to play and maybe even record something and maybe put it to a montage. You just never know. Good idea. Thank you. If you had a van-like time machine and could go back to meet your birdie in her 20s, what one thing would you say to her and why? I would say stop trying to cure yourself because you're going to waste an awful lot of time trying to cure yourself. And then in that time, you're going to get so bad that you're going to lose everything. So stop trying to cure yourself and start trying to learn how to live with it. Put your energy in learning how to live with this illness that you have to the best of your ability and still accomplish things. But know that you're not going to be cured. And so if you waste all your time trying to cure yourself and not learning how to live to the best of your ability with the illness, it's not going to go very well for you. So stop that. And just figure out how to make the best of when it is okay and accept it, because with acceptance, you can learn how to live with it. If you keep trying to fight it, you're going to be wasting your time, and then it's just going to get worse, and then you're going to lose everything. So learn to live with it, girl. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. If you learn to live with it, it'll be all right. Where are we going to visit next? First, so you're going to see the women's convention thingy that happened that I did in Seneca Falls, and then you're going to see, I'm going to be recording some stuff around the Adirondacks. So that will be, I guess, the next place that we visit together. Oh, Ton got a motorhome. Good job! Congratulations! I hope you love it so much. Oh, that's fun. Somebody said it'd be a funny twist if you took both questions and answers. You know, like Jeopardy. Like take answers and then provide questions for them to express how you feel about those things. That's fun. Maybe we'll do that in a future video. I love that idea. That's really cute. What is your favorite color and who is your favorite author? My favorite color is blue. Not every shade of blue, but most shades of blue. Like that's a good blue. That's a good blue. My favorite author is Stephen King. I know it's kind of cliche, but I've been reading his books since I was like 12 or something, maybe even younger. And I really, 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 really love Stephen King. I also have been really enjoying the Robert Jordan fantasy series, The Wheel, something about a wheel. But I had to get my books because I do audiobooks and I have to get them from the library. And there is a big old long waiting list for every single book in that one. So I'm only like 5 or 6 books in, but I've been really enjoying that story. So I guess I would like him a lot. But no, my favorite, Stephen. It's always Stephen. Love you, Steve. Do you have any creative outlets to cope with feelings when you're in the well? When I'm in the well, I can't do anything. It is very much just me staring or trying really hard to occupy my brain with games on my phone or listening to a book or looking out at the lake, staring. I do a lot of staring. It's really a very goodly portion of my day. It's just staring. I can't do anything creative. I've had a block with that for a long time. And it's especially hard. It's even worse, of course, when I'm in the depression. Robbie wants to know if I'm your favorite follower. Yes, you are one of 22,000 favorites that I have. Thank you so much. What are some of the things you've dreamt of doing as a career? Fun one. Well, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a DJ, like a radio DJ at one point. I wanted to be a painter. I actually went to college for a little while to try and be a painter, like a fine art painter, but house painter too. Why not? Paint is paint. No. I've often thought that if I had understood in my early 20s how cool science is, that I would have been a scientist. I really could have had a lot of fun with science if I had known back then how stinking cool it is. Just a lot of the videos that I watch is sciencey stuff. I freaking love science. And of course I wanted to be a singer. I very much wanted to be a singer. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think that could have been a lot of fun. Is van life a choice now or a necessity? You have met many generous people on your channel who give you gift cards and items often, but if that were gone, would you get the help needed to settle somewhere, probably with the help of the state? I guess the bottom line question is, if there was no people donating to you, how would you have worked through the homelessness? What support would you have sought? I think there is a very big misconception about how much money I make on this channel. I don't have people constantly donating to me. I haven't had a place for somebody to send gifts in a long time, so I haven't received gifts. I mean, other than the van, of course, and the huge amount of money that y'all sent me to buy the van. Other than that, that was like a one-off. That's not like a normal thing that I'm receiving. So, the van was how I worked through the homelessness. I did originally think about getting into some sort of subsidized housing, but that was a 3 to 5 year wait list. And then you're like, I feel like you're always afraid you're going to end up getting kicked out. You're going to end up like not qualifying 1 month. Or I don't really know how it works, but it scares me, the idea of that. So the van is very much how I've dealt with the homelessness, and will continue to work through the homelessness until I figure out my next steps, which, if there aren't any next steps and it's just the van forever, then thank you so much for having a place that I am not on the street. And so that's how I'm working through it. I am not just receiving gift cards and items often. That's not happening for me. But that's not the point of this YouTube channel. I receive tons and tons and tons of comments and love, and that is the point. And yes, I have received donations, and that it saved my butt with this, but it's not like a regular thing. It's not like something that I expect. What is your monthly budget living on the road? So I live on approximately $800 a month. I'm still waiting on Birdie's Life Story Chapter 2. Yes, it's coming. It's coming. Everything's coming. I'm really, really, really hoping that I am back to normal for a while anyway. I'll go back into the well. That's always how it happens. But hopefully it'll go back to being the way that it was, where I would just go into the well for a few days at a time, and then I could come back out and be fine. I can manage that, so hopefully it's back to that. And then, yes, I will have that out probably in the next month or so, hopefully. What are 10 of your favorite things, like favorite color, favorite flower, favorite artist, etc.? So my 10 favorite things. So I told you my favorite color is blue. My favorite color, my favorite flower is a plumeria, or you may know it by a frangipani. I lived in Hawaii, and they were called plumerias there, and they are the most divine heavenly smell in the whole wide world. I also like really the simplicity of the yellow ones. Very pretty to me. Favorite artist, it fluctuates, but I probably either Miranda Lambert or Patrice Pike, who was or is a independent artist out of Austin, Texas, where I'm from. Favorite food is Mexican all the time. I could live on it. Favorite state is, it's a combination of between Washington and Hawaii. Probably Hawaii though, just because at least the year there, just because, it's tropical and the weather, it smells like flowers. The air just smells like flowers everywhere you go, mostly. And the weather there is fantastic. The green, probably Hawaii is my favorite state. My favorite actor is probably Meryl Streep. I know that's a little bit cliche, but honestly, she can play anything. Is there a bug on me? I think there's a bug on me, whatever. I also really like Kate Winslet, so maybe a combination. Maybe they might have to be tied first place for me. Favorite animal would be different depending on the day. It might be a beluga whale. It might be a snow leopard. It might be a dog. It might be a bird. It depends on, and really any kind of bird. But my favorite bird, the little songbirds, like the fairy wren. Oh my God. Did I make it to 10 yet? Favorite historical figure, Harriet Tubman. Favorite kind of weather, Washington in the summer. Favorite beer, Bud Light. I know a lot of you are going to hate that, but it's true. I don't hardly ever drink. I can't even remember the last time I drank. But when I do drink, it's a Bud Light. I'm sorry. I'm from Texas. Is that 10? I think we're close to 10. What do you do to soothe the spirit? Music. It's music for me, or going near a body of water. Like right now, I don't know if you can see. Can you see, or is it too bright? That's Tupper Lake out there. I'll show you pictures of it. Beautiful. I like being by a body of water and or listening to music, I think is my things. How do you pass the time when you're feeling low? I think I may have already answered this. I just try to occupy my mind as much as possible so that the mean thoughts don't come in and start yelling at me. Do you think van life makes your bouts of depression better or worse? I don't really think that it changes it either way. I think that I experience the same type of brain crap as I did when I lived in an apartment. Is your depression seasonally related? It can be. I think I definitely have a harder time in the winter, I guess. But it's not like I'm better in the summer. So I do think it is a little worse in the winter, but it's not a whole lot different. Are you eating regularly and healthily? I am eating regularly, I think you can see. And you can probably also see that not particularly healthily. No, sorry. I don't like admitting it, but it's true. Can you prepare meals in your van? I do prepare very simple things. I heat up water for soups, or I heat up soups. I don't really love cooking even when I'm in a regular place. It's not something I enjoy doing. So I'm more of a reheat gal. So I eat a lot of soups. I eat a lot of sandwiches. I will reheat things sometimes, but I don't really do major cooking. It's just so much trouble. It's so much trouble even just in a regular kitchen when you have a sink and all that. Are you ready to do a van tour? I'm going to do that soon. Yes. What is your go-to feel better music? No judgment, please. Mine is 70s. What's wrong with 70s? Ain't nothing wrong with 70s music. Get real, girl. Let's see. I don't know. My go-to feel good music. I love anything I can sing to. Lately, Chapel Roan has been a really good feel-good music for me. Are you feeling more settled? Yes. Yes, I do. When I get to my parking spot for the night, I do get in the van, I do get in the back, and I do feel at home. And so I guess that is settled. Yes. I do also still feel though like there's a lot to do to make it functional, but I'm getting there. So I'm not all the way there, but I'm getting there. Do you mind driving the bigger vehicle? You know what? It hasn't felt any different. It doesn't, I took to it much quicker than I thought I would. Maybe because I did, drive an RV for a long time. It was a travel trailer, but you're driving a big long thing. Maybe that's why, but it just really doesn't feel, it drives very much like a car. It has a very nice, tight turning radius. And yeah, it hasn't felt really any different. Will you be checking out BLM spaces in Arizona this year? Probably, almost definitely, yes. I can't imagine where else I would go for the winter. I could go to Baja. I know that you can go to Baja, but I have this very big anxiety about crossing borders, especially right now, y'all. So I don't know why there's a big anxiety about it for me. So I don't think I'd probably do that. I think really Arizona is the best place for me to go for winters. What's something I would say to me at 6 years old? You don't have to be somebody else's priority to matter in this world. You matter even if you're never another person's priority at any given point ever in your life. You matter even if you're never ever somebody else's priority. Yeah, that's what I would tell me. Have you ever visited the UK? No, but I would love to. I would really like to. I really would love to visit Scotland, and I would really love to visit Ireland, and I would really like to see Stonehenge. So yeah, I would love to go to the UK. What is your favorite joke? It's too dirty to tell. Sorry. What is your history in singing? So singing has been my one true love, I guess, for as long as I can remember. But I've always been, it's like always been this thing with me that I've always like had a natural talent for something that makes me good, but not great. I've never achieved greatness at anything. I've always been just sort of good, and that's kind of how it is with singing. I did try to do something with it when I was, I went on one audition and I didn't get it. And then, so I didn't ever try again to do anything with singing, really, but I've always loved it. It's always been like the coolest and funnest thing in the world to do. Have you ever experienced spooky paranormal things on the road? No, not on the road. Not since I've been in the van anyway. I've had a couple of interesting paranormal-ish, maybe perhaps experiences. But since they aren't in the van, I'm not going to answer it here because I'm afraid this video is already going to be really long and I don't want to bore anybody. But if you want me to tell those stories in a different video, let me know and I will. Have you ever been to Rocky Mountain National Park? No, I don't think I've actually been to the national park, but I have been in Colorado. In fact, I worked at a dude ranch in Colorado in my mid-20s. So I have been to Colorado, but I don't think I've actually been to the national park, but I would love to. I'm hoping to. Have you discovered Alaska? No, but man, would I love to. I'm so jealous of everybody who's getting ready to go to that Alaska meetup that's happening there, some big van life thing that's happening there. I would love to. I am a little nervous. Well, I was nervous to do it in the minivan. I didn't think I should take that drive in the minivan. I think that this van, though, would totally do it. So it's not out of the question that I would go to Alaska at some point. If I ever could, I would love to. So I don't know. I'll keep that in my mind because I would definitely love to, very much, would love to see Alaska. How many states have you lived in and which was your favorite and why? Ooh, well, so I've lived in, does all the places I stayed for like 2 or 3 months at a time in my RV count? Because if they do, so obviously I lived in Texas. I did the Dude Ranch, for a summer in Colorado. I consider that living because I was there for like 6 months or something. And then when I was in the RV, I stayed like 3 months in Florida. Where was it? It wasn't Miami. It was north of Miami. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Florida. So I count that as living. I was there for a long time. South Carolina. I was there for about 3 or 4 months. I count that as living. Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii. I lived in California. I lived in Virginia. Is that it? I think that's it. So of those 7, my favorites were Hawaii and Virginia. Thank you for saying you love hearing about my adventures. And the other person too that said you really need to be continuing your story. I'm going to. It's really cool that you want me to. Thank you. I'm going to. Have you ever tried laying into God and reading the Bible? Yes, 100%. I spent a very goodly portion of my life trying to, because religion, various types of religion, and Christianity being, one of the biggest ones that I tried, was one of the ways that I was trying to figure out how to cure myself, because for a long time I thought I could cure myself. I just needed to find the ticket, and I was hoping that religion would be it. And I read the Bible. In fact, I've read it 1.5 times. And I went to church and I tried very much. But while I'm grateful that Christianity exists for the people that are able to find, peace and meaning in it, I personally was not able to find that. And so I did move on. I looked into other religions as well. I've read about quite a few of them. So religion, but Christianity was the first one I went to, obviously, because that's the one I knew the most about. It personally never felt like home to me. Have tried it, though, very earnestly for well over a year. And since then, I'm still open to it. I just haven't really been actively pursuing it. What has been your absolute most favorite day in the van? Oh, it would have been one of the days when we were in the San Juan area, I guess. But even there, I remember I went through a big old depression there too. So it doesn't really matter, where I am. Fern Canyon. The day I went to Fern Canyon. Yeah, I think that would be it. And that was the Redwoods in California. Ugh, golly, Fern Canyon. What a place. What month is your birthday? December. I'm a Sagittarius. Do you enjoy the different USA holidays? I'm not a big holiday celebrator, really. So I can't remember really, it's super celebrating any of specifically the USA holidays. I don't really think about holidays. They kind of just come and go for me. I don't know if that's good or not, or bad, or whatever. I just don't really think about holidays very often, frankly. Favorite music artists or favorite albums? It's reminding me that I should have said Amos Lee before, too. He's also another one of my very favorites. Love, love, love Amos Lee. Do you ever get creeped out on your travels, with other people? Oh, yes. There was this one time I was way out on BLM land, way away from Wi-Fi and everything, and it was midnight, and I get a knock on the window, and it's some dude who you can tell had been tweaking, and he wanted to know if I would drive into town and get him gas, because I guess they'd run out of gas or something. And I was like, and he'd it was I was in the wild, so I had left one window open, out toward a vista, and so he had sort of just popped up in the window without me realizing that he was coming. So it was too late for me to because I don't really like people to know that it's just a single girl in here. And if I had known, I would have. Anyway, the point is he saw me. So I couldn't pretend either that I wasn't here or that I was, some big burly man. And I knew that I couldn't go driving because where I was, it was too, first of all, I didn't know this guy. I didn't want to I would have had to get out of the van to get into the front seat, and who knows what he was really after. And I was afraid to drive at night because I don't see very well at night. And it was way out in the boondocks on the side of a mountain. So I was afraid to drive on this cliff, place at dark. So I was like, man, I don't see how I can do that for you. Luckily, his girlfriend then comes and she's like, I'm calling. Long story short, it was very scary and I wasn't sure how to handle it, but thankfully it ended up being okay. And then there was this other time I talked about in a vlog one time where I was again out sort of in the boondocks, and this guy comes to talk to me. And at first I think he's cool, and then I find out he's a racist. And of course, because I can't keep my damn mouth shut. I'm like, dude, you're a racist. That's gross. And then he's like trying to like, you know, blah, 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 and I'm like, nah, just leave. This is gross. And so, he left, and then I was a little creeped out that like, you know, because again, I can't keep my damn mouth shut. I was afraid that he might then come back and mess with me, because he knew where I was. So I think I did stay there that night, but then left. I had planned to stay there for the week or something, but then I ended up leaving because I knew that I had pissed off one of the locals who was a racist. So you can't trust them for nothing. So that creeped me out. Those are the two that I can think of that were like, I was legit nervous by other people. Would be keen to know more about time with your daughter, as I also have one daughter, but her privacy is, of course, paramount. What were early days as a mom like for you? I will be keen to see what gems we learn about you from the Corys. Are you friends with any other van life people? What is the plan for this van? Okay, so I loved being a mom. It was really, 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 really hard. Nobody understands how hard it is until you're actually doing it. It was very hard, and I did do it all by myself for the majority of the time. And so it was hard, but I also loved being a mama. I love my little girl. She's just the most, because she's not little anymore. Golly, the girl's a woman now. How's that happen? Love her though. She was just a delight. She was always a really good kid. I mean, you know, when she was little, we had little fights, of course, but because, you know, you have to teach them not to be selfish, and you have to teach, you know, there's things you have to teach that can be difficult in those years. But I loved it. I will talk more about it as I tell the rest of my story, I guess. So stay tuned for that if you're interested, I suppose. But I will be keeping, of course, a lot of the stuff in relation to my daughter, you know, just between me and her, because she is a very private gal and she has the right to be. I am an open book, on the other hand, so I try to find a balance. Are you friends with any of the van life people? Well, I would consider Annette from Annette's Van Tees my friend. We haven't actually met in person, but I love, love, love her. I don't know. I can't think of anybody else that I would say like we're friends. But I love a lot of other van life people. Love Mateo from, it used to be Winter's Blue, but now his channel I think is My Name is Teo. Love him, but I never actually met him or talked to him. I mean, he did leave one comment on a video one time, and I thought we might become friends, but then we never talked again, and that's all right. It's okay, because he's a big special guy. And he deserves to be. He's fantastic. So I think Annette from Annette's Van Tees. If you haven't met her yet, go meet her. She's fantastic. Do you prefer slow travel, where you absorb as much from your environment as you can, or fast travel? Do you feel where you need to get to your destination ASAP? I definitely prefer slow travel. I kind of go through spurts where sometimes I want to just keep moving, but most of the time I like to go somewhere and just chill for a while. I'm not a huge driver. I don't really love driving, so I try to do kind of as little of that as I possibly can on any given day. I try never to drive more than 2 hours a day, so I definitely prefer slow travel. And I like sticking around an area for a while so that I can really explore it. Because yes, like you said, Susan, it's about the journey, not just the destination. So true. If you were to settle down in one place, where do you think that would be? Probably Virginia, the mountainous region of Virginia. Although if I was wealthy, I don't know. I grew up really always thinking Hawaii would be where I would end up. But the more I've learned about the culture and what we did and how not cute really it is that so many white people are going there, just because of how it displaces and causes costs to go up, and it's not good for the people that actually, you know, belong there. So I guess I wouldn't go back to Hawaii for that reason, but it is a fantastic place to live, so there is that. But no, I think I would do I would say Washington, except for the fact that, what is it, like 7 or 8 months a year it's gray. I don't know, like, mentally if I could handle that. So I say Virginia. Yes, the mountainous region of Virginia. Anything you want or need for your new journey this summer? Just your eyeballs. I would love your eyeballs and your comments and your friendship. Thank you so much. How is your daughter, and what is she thinking she'd like to do for a career? My daughter is really good, and I don't think she's actually really decided on a career. Right now she's doing tutoring. And I think that at one point maybe she did consider going into teaching, I think, but she's never really expressed that she knows exactly what she wants to do. She's still figuring it out, you know, as an 18-year-old, almost 19-year-old gal should do. She's still figuring it out. So I don't know. I don't know. It'd be fun to see, though, what she ends up doing. How's Birdie's nest feeling these days? Wonderful. Thank you. Very comfy. Yes, indeed. Favorite kind of food? Mexican. I could eat Mexican every day of every week and never, ever, ever get bored of it. Ever. You know, you can have nachos one day, tacos the next, enchiladas the next day, quesadilla. Ever get bored. Never get bored. Love it. Oh, I love it a little too much. It might be my whole personality. What is the funniest verbalization or a specific time in your life where you just cracked up? Maybe I remember my sister brought me to Eddie Murphy Raw, the movie when it was still in the movie theaters, and I was too young to go, but somehow she got me in, and it's just one of the funniest freaking stand-ups ever. And I can just remember being on the way back to the car with her, and I think maybe my other sister Angela, my stepsister Angela, was also with us maybe. And I just remember us just cracking up on the way back to the car. And then like forever, you know, we would like, it was either Raw or Delirious. Which one was it? It was Raw or Delirious. Either way. And I just remember like for years afterward to be like, you want some ice cream? Psych. Or just, you know, constantly. I don't know. Some of the funniest times in my life is the thinking of or remembering that movie, going to that movie when I was too young with my sister. It was fantastic. Who is your celebrity crush? Oh, it's going to be a toss-up between Kate Winslet and Charlie Hunnam. He played Jax in Sons of Anarchy. They're both so very, very fantastic, and I want to marry them both. Polyamory? Should we be polyamorous together? Come on. You might like it. You don't know. Kate, Charlie, am I your type? What viewpoint is the most difficult for you to empathize with? Bigotry. Bigotry. Anybody. Like, okay, there's only one group of people that I paint entirely with one paintbrush, and that is mean people. All mean people get the same paintbrush. And if you are a racist or a bigot, you are a mean people. So, that is the only one that I can understand why an entire group would be put into one bin. Otherwise, I just can't understand how narrow-minded you have to be to believe, particularly with immutable characteristics, things that you are born with. And yes, LGBT is one of the things that you are born with. And of course, your ethnicity and all of that, how you look, all of that is how you were born. So, anybody that can put an entire group into one bin and say all of these people are whatever it is that you think of them, I think is so narrow-minded and stupid. and I just don't like you. You know, if you're that person who thinks all Hispanics are, or all Black people are, or all gay people are this, or I don't like you. I think you're dumb. I can't empathize with that. What difficult or painful experience would you recommend to everyone? Having your heart broken, because it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And as trite as that is, it is very, very true. And for me, while, having my heart broken and the fact that it still breaks a little bit every time I think about it, it was worth it because of what I got out of the experience. So I guess having your heart broken. What are the signs that someone really understands me, you uniquely, period? If you don't expect me to text you all the time and you still love me, if you don't ever give me shit about the fact that you rarely hear from me and you know I still love you, you get me. You are one of the 3 people on earth who do. If you were in a white room with no windows or doors without thinking, what are 3 adjectives to describe how you would feel? A white room with I would feel overwhelmed by the brightness. Wait, let me see, what are your questions again? What are 3 adjectives? Overwhelmed, bored, scared. I wouldn't like it. What is your favorite body of water and 3 adjectives to describe it? Oh, okay. So I don't know what it's called, but I think it's at the beginning of my Mount Rainier video, when I came around a corner, it was the first time I saw Mount Rainier, and I had thought before then that I was seeing Mount Rainier and it wasn't nearly as impressive as I thought. That's because I hadn't actually seen it yet. And I come around the corner and there's this lake. It's a little lake. I don't remember what it's called, but the mountain is behind it. The white-capped mountain is behind it. That might be one of my, well, yes, that's definitely one of my favorite bodies of water. I don't know what it's called, but majestic. That scene, majestic. I've never been standing in front of a Bob Ross painting in real life until that moment. Majestic. My second favorite body of water is going to be the Pacific Ocean, and I feel awed when I am in front of that one. I feel very awed. A-W-E-D, not O-D-D, but, like it's awesome. And the next body of water would be Barton Springs in Austin, Texas. It's a natural spring where people go swimming in the summer there because it's cold. But I would feel refreshed when I'm there. If you could be any animal in the world, what would you be? And 3 adjectives to describe why. Oh, I would be a macaw. I would be a macaw because they're big and badass and beautiful. The colors in a macaw, and because they have these really strong beaks. But they're mostly vegetarians. I wouldn't want to have to be an animal that had to eat live animals. I could not handle that. That is not in my DNA. I don't think even if I was another animal. So the fact that I could live on fruits and nuts, and of course the fact that I could fly, and that I could mimic just about anything I wanted to mimic. So the adjectives would be colorful, freedom, and fun. Yes, I would love to be a macaw. What's your favorite clothing and 3 adjectives to describe why? My favorite clothing is anything comfortable because I like to be comfortable. Thank you. How well do I still like my big battery charger? Are you talking about this one? Oh, this one that I did a review on? Love it. I still use it constantly. It's still my favorite. I wish I had a bigger one that had a bigger capacity. It is the favorite, and it's the one that I use the most, except that it won't run my refrigerator because I guess it doesn't have enough. It does seem like it should have enough power because it has like 300, it'll go up to 300 watts, but for some reason it won't. My refrigerator just errors out when I try and put it in there. So I wish it was bigger, but other than that, it's fantastic. I wish it was bigger, but then I also like the portability of it being small. Either way, yes, I still use it all the time and still highly, highly, highly recommend it. Did you want to have more kids? No. No. I wasn't even intending to have her. My whole life thought I wasn't going to have children at all. And then I met my ex, who spent a year telling me that I would be, anyway, I don't want to go into all that, but they convinced me to have a kid. And I'm very grateful that I had her. It was very much on purpose, very much wanted her. Did not like pregnancy at all, not from the beginning, not to the end. I hated it. And it is 10 months, not 9 months. I don't know why anybody tells you it's 9 months, because that shit is 10 months. 40 weeks is 10 months. So I hated it. I hated pregnancy, and I was definitely not interested in doing it again. And not only that, now I did consider fostering. I did consider being a foster parent. I think I could have been a pretty decent foster parent before I lost my brain. But my baby girl really was not interested in sharing me. She didn't even like sharing me with her friends when her friends would come over. And so I just didn't think that it would be the best thing for her. And in the end, it ended up being good that I didn't, because I did end up losing my brain, and I wouldn't have been a good foster mom at that point. So, but I would have loved to have fostered. I wish that I could have fostered. I think that would have been amazing. Do you follow true crime? I do. Yes. Maybe more than I should. Yes, I do love true crime stuff. Top 3 experiences in the last year. Well, you guys bailing me out is going to be one of the top 3 experiences of my entire life. I genuinely, really, honestly, fully believed that I was going to end up on the streets. I couldn't see another way around it. And it never, ever would have occurred to me that you guys would help me as much as you did. It just never would have occurred to me that y'all would show up in the way that you did. And not only did I not end up on the streets where I believed I would end up, I got a bigger vehicle, a nicer, more reliable vehicle than what I had to begin with. And that is going to be one of the best experiences of my whole life, and probably all of my lives, depending on how many I live at some point. So that, what you guys showing up for me like that. In the last year, I was in the San Juan Islands around in the summer of last year, and I would definitely say that and Mount Rainier were amazing experiences for me in the last year. And watching my daughter bloom the way that she has in the last year, she has just grown so much and learned so much and blossomed into this just, fantastic person that I would just be proud to know, much less be her mama. And I can't take credit for that. Her dad's done so much for her in the last year. And I'm so grateful to him for being such a good dad. He just loves her so much, and she has just blossomed under his care. And that has been just a top tier experience to watch. Top 3 insights since you started this channel. Mostly that people are amazing. That's not really an insight because it's something I kind of already knew, but this channel really, really drove home how correct I am, that people are by and large fan-freaking-tastic, that we are just a beautiful, beautiful species capable of love that just cannot be described. And so I've had the insight that I was right all that time about human beings. On the other side of that same coin, I have had the insight that people really do want to control other people. Not all people, but there's an awful lot of people who just really think that the world should work to their benefit kind of all the time, and that everybody around them should be doing something to their benefit, that person's benefit, all the time. And that's been an interesting insight. I didn't realize how many people strongly believed that the world should sort of work for them and human beings should do things that benefit them. I was a little bit surprised by just how much power people think that they should have over other people's lives and decisions. That's a little surprising, something I've learned from this channel. And I think I've learned too that art doesn't have to be what you thought art was, I've learned that you can just make a really neat sequence of video and that feels like art. So I've learned, that's an insight that I've had, that art is a bigger genre than I thought it was. And that's really cool. Do you think of going to the RTR in 2026? I'm sure hoping I can. I would love to. I'm hoping so. They go on to say, I'm hoping to, but I am worried because it is very people. And it is very people. It's funny. I don't know if you've seen the video of me going to the RTR it was like one of the first videos I did on this channel was going to the RTR. And it was really hard because it is very, 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 very people. But, it's great because one of the great things about having your home with you is that you can retreat into your home any old time you need to, baby. And I did a lot. So yeah, I say do it, and then just go into your van when you need to be alone, and people will respect that. When are you coming back to California? I don't know yet. It all depends on if I'm able to do the Texas thing. If I can't do the Texas thing, then I'll go to California so I can see my baby. Either way, I just need to see my baby. That's the only reason I'd go back to California. Well, and not Yellowstone, Yosemite. I do want to see Yosemite at some point, so I'll go back eventually. Where can I send the gift I got you last summer? You're so sweet. I don't have an address. I don't have a way. I'm nowhere long enough to do that at this point. But I love that you have some for me. That's so very sweet of you. I'm hoping that I will have it as a place at some point because I would love to be able to see what you got. But I'm having trouble with the address situation. I'll let you know though if I figure something out. Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. Let's see. Which modes of therapy have you tried and what worked and what didn't work and why? So I was in therapy for 20 plus years. It did not do very much for me at all, except my caveat is it did in one way, I think, make life much, much better and maybe even saved my life. And that was the last therapist that I had. Her name was Martha. And I was with her for like 3 years. And she was amazing. And I think it was 3 years. Am I right about that? Anyway, I don't remember exactly. But anyway, she helped me to I'm still not there yet. I still judge myself a lot. But she did help me to come more fully to terms with the fact that a lot of my reactions and my feelings are related to a chemical imbalance that I cannot fix. There, or whatever it is, there is some mental illness that I struggle with that is going to dictate my actions a lot, and that is not always my fault. And I don't have to carry the guilt of it. Or I shouldn't have to carry the guilt of it. I do still. There's things that I've done that I will never, ever, 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 ever forgive myself for, or believe that I even have the right to forgive myself for. So those I will carry with me forever. But there are some things that I have been able to hate myself a little bit less over, and that was thanks to Martha really working with me on understanding that it isn't all my fault, and that a lot of it really is just brain chemistry and or reactions to experiences that I couldn't really control at the time. Now, like I said, I cannot apply that to everything in my life, and there are things that I will feel bad doesn't seem like a bad enough word about until the day that I die. But in a lot of ways, like the fact that I don't bathe regularly, I used to really, 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 really hate myself and judge myself to just a really extreme point. And she really helped me understand things like that are part of my illness, and it doesn't have to be a condemnation on my personality or my being. So I would say for me, therapy is very, very important. And I think everybody in the whole wide world should go to therapy for like a minimum of 3 years in their life. I think that should just be, like part of your educational experience in life. I think everybody should. With the, and for a lot of us, with the emphasis on not hating ourselves for things that we can't control. Finding less self-hatred and trying to find a little more self-love and forgiveness. So yeah, that. What didn't work? I tried the DBT, the dialectical behavioral therapy, and the CBT, the cognitive behavioral therapy. Tried both those, didn't work. Tried them very earnestly, didn't work for me. Didn't really make any difference in my life. Tried group therapy, did not like group therapy. For me, I'm sure just because it didn't or does or didn't work for me doesn't mean that it will or will not work for anyone else. So again, I think everybody should try therapy, and go consistently for 3 years. I think it should just be a part of human requirement, preferably before you have a baby. Oh, and meditation. I tried meditation so bad because I really believed, like, everybody tells you that shit gonna cure you and gonna make you feel so much better. And I tried it so hard. And for me, I just have this really rude, intrusive brain thought process. And so when I try to shut my brain down and not think, all that does is bring up, oh, remember? Do you remember? You remember when you did that? You remember how that person? You remember how you made? Remember? And so I would almost always come out of a meditation session feeling much worse than I did going in, and I finally just stopped that altogether. Meditation is not for moi. I haven't watched any. Somebody asked if I'd watched any of the Eagle Nest cams. I haven't. I need to look that up. I would love to see that. My favorite city or park. My favorite city has been Port Townsend. Although Anacortes, which is just north of Port Townsend, is a very close runner-up. But those are like that whole area. But Port Townsend, man, there's something about that town. I love it. I miss it. I wish I could go back. I mean, I will someday. I'm going back. Dang it. Oh, and there's a park there. There's also, my favorite park is also in Port Townsend. There's a park there that is just, it's got this really cool garden area, and of course the ocean is right there, and it's got this amazing gazebo. It's just lovely, lovely. I can't remember what it's called now. It's a Native American name, and I can't remember it right now. But I'll try and find it maybe and put it in the anyway. Port Townsend. Go to Port Townsend if you can, but be nice because the people there are so nice. So be really nice and don't give us nomaders a bad name. Have you ever considered moving to another country with a much lower cost of living? Yes, yes, yes. I would. I would definitely move to Mexico. I would definitely move to Thailand or one of my favorite channels, Raising Wildflowers. Raising Wildflowers. If you haven't checked her out and her family, they're amazing. And that's what they're doing right now. They've actually left the U.S. and are full-time traveling and looking for a new place to call home I think they're in Vietnam right now. They started in Thailand, I believe. Anyways, it's definitely got my brain juices going, but I don't, it's something I probably, if I had understood more than what I understand now, it's probably something I would have very much looked into when I was younger and still had a more elastic brain. I think it would be harder for me now because everything is harder for me now. Everything is a little harder to learn. Everything is a little harder to understand. My brain has just, lost an awful lot of its cognitive abilities. So it scares me a little bit now, but I'm not closed off to the idea. Who knows what'll happen in the future. I had depression for all my life, but what greatly helped me was cardio. Have you tried it? It's important to release endorphins. Yes, I have. That is one of the things that I tried for several years. In fact, regularly exercising. I tried it in different ways. I took up West Coast Swing and I did a bunch of West Coast Swing dancing for a long time. And I loved that. Amazing, really gets your cardio going. Didn't help my depression any, but was fun along the way. And I sometimes still wish that I was doing it. I wish that I had the balls to do it now, but I don't know if I could do it now. Again, because I am very slow to pick up on things now. And then I also did, I was a gym rat for a while. Dancing was probably my biggest form of cardio in various different ways. I also did a lot of hiking last summer and intend to do a lot of hiking this summer. It is fantastic for physical, but it does nothing for my mentals. It just never has. I've tried it many times in various different forms because you do hear that so often. And I'm not going to say that it never helped me feel better mentally, but it doesn't really overall. It doesn't really make that big of a difference for me, or maybe any difference. I can't really think of any time that it ever made a difference in my mentals, but definitely big difference in my physicals, and that's good. Have you ever thought about having ADHD? Yes, I have ADHD. I have been officially diagnosed with ADHD. I didn't find that out until, late 40s. I didn't find out until my late 40s. In fact, it's one of those things that, ADHD, they keep talking about, oh my God, there's so many more people with ADHD now. That's just because we understand better about what ADHD and autism are, and therefore we're able to diagnose it more often. It used to be that we've always been existing. ADHDers and autistic people have always been existing, but they just didn't really understand what it was. So they were just, called weird or sent off to an asylum or whatever. But they didn't actually get a diagnosis because they didn't really understand what it was. We understand it better now what it is. And so people are actually able to get diagnosed, which makes it look like there's more of us, but there's not. But man, I tell you what, I really do believe that if I had been diagnosed in my 20s, my whole life would be different. I would not be where I am now. I think that if I could have been diagnosed at a time when I could have gotten on medication and learned how, to approach life with that particular brain, that I wouldn't have had the big breakdown that has ruined everything and I still haven't recovered from. So yeah, I have ADHD and I really can't treat it because I have heart stuff. So every time I try to get on the ADHD meds, it makes my heart go funky. So I can't get on those meds now, but it's a whole long story and I've talked a little bit about it before, but yes, that is a thing I have. What is the landscape that gives you the strongest feeling of being home? Interesting, because if you just say my favorite landscape, it's definitely where the mountains meet the ocean. Do I feel home? No. Home, that's one of the reasons why I love Virginia so much, because for whatever reason, the mountainous area of Virginia, where it's like, because it's like this great combination of gentle rolling hills and the mountains, there's something about that that feels very much like home to me. Yeah. So if you could decide to live in any other country, what would it be? If it wasn't for the cold, it would probably be like Norway, because just, happiest place on earth. You guys really have it nailed. Y'all are doing pretty good on how to like run a country and take care, be good to the people in the country. But I don't think I could handle the weather in Norway. So New Zealand, maybe New Zealand, because New Zealand is beautiful. It has decent weather as far as I know, and they treat the people pretty well. Unless we're talking about how they treat the Maori people, in which case that's not great. So I don't know. Like, can you go anywhere in this world where we actually treat people the way we deserve to be treated? I don't know. But that's where I would go if we found it. If you find it, let me know. It's not too cold. I just can't handle Norway. I just can't do it. Do you believe in ghosts and or an afterlife? I am incredibly agnostic, which means, and my agnostic version is like completely open-minded. So it might mean that none of it is real, or what I kind of tend to lean toward slightly is that, yeah, I believe in it. I believe that, I believe ghosts are certainly a possibility, and I think an afterlife is certainly a possibility. And I think it's not just, religious reasons that I think that. It is scientific reasons, because, energy can never be destroyed, right? It can only change form. And whatever energy it is that animates our body, particularly the consciousness, which is the thing that we still haven't fully defined and or figured out. Where exactly does consciousness come from? Is it a form of energy? And I believe it probably is, or there's something, I don't know. So if you consider that science has proven that energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be transformed or changed into something else, then I think something has to happen to whatever the energy is that animates us, that makes us sentient beings. Something has to happen to that. I feel like that has to be, but again, I'm also agnostic enough to know maybe that's not energy and it's just some weird synapses going on, and that the energy just transforms into like nutrients for the insects that feed on us. So it's also possible that that's the case, but I've had enough experiences and enough possible experiences that makes me think there's probably an afterlife. I don't know exactly what form that is, and that means there's possibly ghosts. Maybe it might be, spirits that haven't moved on. It's possible. I don't know exactly, but it's fun to think about. What do you do about a physical address while doing van life? Stress. Stress. I do know that this video is getting really long. I'm sorry. I have long-winded answers. I understand. So I'll try to keep it short, but I stress about it. I had an address, and then when I was using a mailing service, and then when I was staying in New York, they shut that service down, and so I had to quickly change it, and then I changed it to where I was at. But then things changed, and so then I had to change it again, and then I was using a friend's, but I don't really like that, and so now I'm back to like trying to figure out that whole situation. I am not in a position to pay escapees $200 or whatever it is for them to give me an address. So I am still figuring that out. Yeah, and I need to figure it out soon. So thank you for reminding me. Do you have a good relationship with your siblings? I have one sister, and yes, I have a very good relationship with her, only because she is amazing and probably one of the most understanding and lovely people in the world, because I really only talk to her through text. I don't talk to anybody on the phone other than my daughter. And I really only talk with my sister through text. Maybe once a month. And that is a failing on my part and an incredible, beautiful thing on her part, because she would love it for it to be more often, and she deserves for it to be more often. And yet she is still very, very loving and patient and forgiving and understanding about the fact that it isn't. So for that reason, I have a really good relationship with her. What about your parents? They have both passed. They passed quite a while ago. Why didn't they take you in when you started having financial troubles and needing to move into the van? Well, my parents are passed, My sister is in an apartment that she's not allowed to have somebody else come and live with her. Should get kicked out of her apartment if I tried to go live with her. I did ask her, and she was very sad that she couldn't, because her landlord wouldn't allow it. So, how are you really, and what are your plans for the upcoming hot summer months? So, I am struggling pretty hard, but starting to feel a little better. So and my plan, hopefully I can escape the heat in Maine. Hopefully. What is your routine? It is wake up, have coffee, move the van. If I'm not out in the wild, which I haven't been, so my current routine is that move the van just to somewhere that I can be for the day, and depending, like since I've been in such a bad place mentally, it's just been, move the van to someplace I can be for the day, stare out the window and hope that the minutes pass more quickly, and or try to occupy my brain with, video games or YouTube videos or something, make it to the end of the day, have lunch at some point in that time, and then have dinner at some point in that time, and then go to bed. Or drive back to a place where I can park for the night and then go to bed and then wake up. That's one of the reasons why there's not been any videos, guys, because it's pretty boring. It's maintenance. It's just managing. We're just managing the days right now. Well, until today. Today I'm feeling better. Actually, yesterday I was starting to feel better. I thought I was better yesterday. I started trying to record this video yesterday, and some couple of minor little things happened that just dragged me back down to the so I had one more day of but then I woke up better today, and so then here we are, and this is my schedule right now. This is what I'm doing right now. Where have you been staying during this time? So I've been in New York this whole time. I was in Fishkill for a couple days, then I went up to stay around Albany. I was just trying to stay at Cracker Barrels, and then I was planning to explore the Finger Lakes, because I needed to stay in New York for a little longer to do some doctory stuff. So I went and I stayed in Horseheads for a few days. And then, I was there for a while. Actually, I stayed in Horseheads for a while. I just could not get myself out. And then I had to leave, suddenly. My brain was just like, you got to get out. I never ended up exploring the Finger Lakes. So hopefully I'll go back and do that. And now I'm in the Adirondacks. When was the last time you saw your beautiful daughter? Oh, my beautiful, sweet, beautiful daughter. The last time I saw her has been so long. I haven't seen her since November. Yeah, I went to California and visited her in November. I think it was October. One of those. My question is about Texas. What city did you live in? What did you like about it? Would you ever consider buying land and moving back there? I was born and raised in Austin, Texas, but I also lived in Blanco, which is kind of out in the country at one point, and I lived in Elgin, which is on the other side, but also out in the country at one point. What did I like about it? Well, I liked Austin because it is kind of like this funky, groovy little place in the middle of a very conservative state, but the city itself is very, pretty progressive. And it's also the live music capital of the world. So there's always great live music to go and see. And some of my favorite artists of all time, like Patrice Pike and Tony Price, are still to this day two of my prime time favorite music artists of all time. And they were local to Austin, and I would go see them all the time. So love that about Austin. Didn't really love Texas just in general. It is a very, very conservative place, and I'm very out with my progressiveness. So we didn't always get along really well. And for that reason, I would most likely, I can't see myself ever moving to Texas. There's not I hate to talk bad about Texas because, there's great, the people are fantastic, and it did produce some of the best music artists of all time. But the summers are brutal. The winters aren't great. The politics aren't great. The governor isn't great. So I don't see myself ever living in Texas again. Your teeth are beautiful. How do you keep them so white and bright? That is so nice of you, but also I don't understand it because I literally do not brush my teeth every day. It's one of the things that I just can't stand about myself, that I'm not great about that. There's a lot of days that I just don't brush my teeth. And in fact, I've lost a tooth from this side and a tooth from this side. So I've got like a big hole in both sides. Because I don't take great care of my teeth. So I don't know how I've gotten so lucky with my teeth. And in fact, I don't know if you can see, they're really not that white. I don't know why they come off looking white in the video, but they are kind of yellow. So I think it's mostly luck. I don't really know. If there's one thing I do that I think might help keep them a little brighter, is that instead of wetting before I wet my toothbrush, before I brush, I wet it with hydrogen peroxide instead of wetting it with just regular water. And maybe that helps. I don't know. But a lot of it is luck. And I think they're really not that white and bright in person. It's just that the camera is very kind to them for some reason. When are you coming to Cape Cod? I had every intention of going to Cape Cod. After New York, I was going to do Cape Cod and then go up to Maine from there. But man, trying to find a place to park in Cape Cod, because it is highly illegal. It is very illegal to sleep in your car on the street in Cape Cod. Everything I could find anyways. So I don't know where I'd sleep. So no Cape Cod for me, unfortunately. I love Cape Cod though. It's one of the first places that I ever visited. I visited it many, 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 many years ago. And it's one of the first places I ever visited that I was like, I could live here. This place is cool. I want to call places wicked. I love it. Are you happy with your present lifestyle? I am very happy in that it is the very best outcome that I possibly could have. I am so lucky. I am so over the top lucky. Things could have just gone so much worse than they did, so I'm so happy for that. Isn't it exhausting to feel you must be helpful, cheerful, and upbeat to be valued or seen? Kara. The amount of mean comments I get when I come on these videos and I'm not cheerful. Yes, it's hard. Yes. If a hospitality center were designed and created with a focus on the van life community, what kinds of things or services would you like to see have available in such a space? Y'all, why don't we have charging stations everywhere? Like, you've got these electric cars charging stations. That's what you need. That needs to be your priority. It needs to be a place where we can bring our power stations and charge them bitches up. And a place where we can throw away our trash. Two of the hardest, most painful things about living in the van. If you can give me a place to charge my stuff up, particularly if it's been cloudy for a few days, give me a place to throw my trash away, and a place where I'm allowed to park without getting in trouble. You would solve 80% of van life issues right away. Be amazing. What a cool thing. That's a cool thing. I hope somebody creates that. What do you hope for your future, say, in 10 years or so? In 10 years, if I had my druthers, I would be on a little piece of land out in the country somewhere, with maybe a tiny, tiny little shed that I had turned into a home, and some chickens, and a dog, and a cat, and a parrot, and good Wi-Fi so I could stay in touch with y'all all of the time, and then be building things, be building the chicken coop and be building things. That's would be fantastic. What do you think of Canada's MAID, M-A-I-D program regarding assistance for people like me who are over 50, have exhausted all medical assistance, and have found no relief? I am so sorry, but I don't know really what the MAID program is, so I can't comment. But I have very strong feelings about what a country should be doing for its humans of all capabilities. And I intend to talk more about that on the political channel that I am indeed going to start. So many things have kept me from doing it, but I am going to start it very soon. So I'll let you know when I do if you're interested in that, because I will be talking about a lot of things that I think regarding a government's responsibility to its citizens. And I don't know about MAID, but if it helps you, I hope so, and it's amazing if it helps you. You done any crafting lately? No, unfortunately. Mine is starting to make curtains. I have started to make some curtains, but other than that, really nothing crafty. How are you, and have you always been this lovely? I really have you fooled, don't I? I ain't all that lovely. Definitely not all that lovely, but I sure appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Stay tuned. How are you so sweet, kind, and funny? Oh, aren't you cute? I'm not always. But I am a lot of time, sometimes because I love human beings. I believe in the best in most human beings. So that makes me want to be sweet. I also cannot not think about how other people feel or think in certain situations. So, like, most of what I do, I try to make sure that it's going to make the person around me feel good or at least not feel bad as much as possible. But I am certainly not perfect in that regard. I can be judgmental, and sometimes that judgmentalness is right there on my face, even when I don't want it to be. So I'm not always. I'm not always sweet. I'm not always kind. I will, if you do some shit, I might say some shit. If I can be pretty confrontative under certain circumstances. And funny, thank you so much for saying I'm funny. That's very fun to hear. I like to make myself laugh, and I'm constantly joking with myself because, it's definitely more fun to live laughing about things. So thank you for sometimes laughing with me. That's really cool. How do you get into the back of your van? I do indeed use a stepping stool. I have to use a stepping stool, and then there's like a handle on the back of the seat. So I'll use a stepping stool and use the handle to kind of like pull myself up. It is very high up off the ground, which we love because it's going to be great when I'm out on them BLM lands and trying to get over them rocks and stuff. That's going to be fantastic. But it definitely, I had to work up. My muscles have grown since living in this van. It can be a thing getting up into the van. I would definitely recommend, this is something that I said a long time ago. Like if you're thinking about moving into a van, one of the things that you should be doing is working on your leg strength right away. Work on your leg strength and your core strength. If you can get those things strong before you even get into the van, you are way ahead of the game. Very high recommendation on my part. Do you watch Old Rusty? I'm not sure who that is. I'll have to look them up. Are they good to watch? I'll watch them if they're good to watch. I'll look them up. Why, ever since some of your loyal fans helped you get a van, do you feel that you can put up videos less than 5 minutes long and that is acceptable? You used to have videos that were a lot longer, and you would show the gifts that you were sent to show your appreciation, but the biggest gift of all, the van, you can't give your followers and contributors more than a 3-minute video. I've been trying to stay alive. I've been in the well, and for me, the well means that I am, that there's a part of my brain that is desperately, desperately, desperately trying to get me to drive off the nearest cliff. And it is taking every ounce of energy that I have not to. And then when I'm in that place, I just can't turn on the camera and, do happy travel videos. And I do understand that it was horrible timing and that indeed I do owe you guys more. And I am hoping that I am in a place where I can finally start giving that to you. But I just came out of a place where my goal and priority and the only thing I could do was survive. And I have to be honest to tell you that questions like that make it harder. And that is not the first time I've read that question. I've gotten that comment 5 or 6 times from 5 or 6 different people over the last few weeks. I usually just delete them right away because they feel mean and I don't like mean comments. But I do understand that I owe you more than I have given you. And I'm really sorry that I was not in a good place to do that and that I really just needed to make it through the end of every single day. 24 hours is a really, really, really long time. So I was just trying to ignore the voice in my head that said everything would be better if I was just gone. And that takes all of my energy when that voice gets really loud in me. It takes all of my energy to drown it out, ignore it, and not listen to it. I wish that we could be more understanding of people with any kind of chronic illness and understand that patience is usually the very, very best thing we can do for them. And that's all I want to say about that. And that was the last. So, well, that's kind of a sad way to end it, isn't it? I'm okay though now. Everything's fine, and I do have videos planned, and I have a fun trip planned, and I do want to be the YouTuber that you want me to be, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to do that. I do realize that this is the biggest, most amazing gift that I have ever been given in my entire life, unless you count my daughter, a gift given to me by the universe. Then you guys deserve more from me. There is no doubt that you guys deserve more from me, and I hope that I am in a place that I can give it to you now. So look forward to that, hopefully. And to everybody who's been very patient with me, thank you so much. I am really sorry that I've been gone, and I've missed you, and I've thought about you constantly, and I still talk to you all the time, even if the camera's not on. I'm still talking to you. I just don't turn the camera on. So we've still been talking. You just haven't heard it. Anyway, so I love you. Gosh, I hope this wasn't too long, and I definitely hope it wasn't too boring, but I am very glad to be back, and I have missed you so much, and I love you so much, and I hope you're having the most amazing day ever, and I will see you soon. Bye.